Good morning. It is Saturday, the 4th of February, and it is a date that I have in my memory and won't forget because it's the start of the holidays. And there's been a lot of, when we get to the holidays in school, and so it's Saturday, the 4th of Feb, and it's a holiday. So therefore, I am in my kind of transition between work and holiday mode. And yeah, and that's when I obviously often find things difficult. And I'm going to not find things difficult because I'm kind of aware now of the fact that I do find things difficult and why, because I have ADHD and my executive function is sometimes not great. Um, so that's that. I've got plans. We have plans. So we're going away from Wednesday to Friday to see my daughter, which is great. And various things as well this week. But I'm going to work a bit on Monday and Tuesday because I have got backlog, and I think as a head teacher, that's just the way it is. I'm quite looking forward to that because it's nice to have some time to work where there's not the day-to-day pressures and having to respond to things and get some of that backlog done of things that are quite rewarding and fun, but just never get time in the day to focus on. Next couple of days are a little bit vague, so that's why I'm a little bit like not sure what I'm doing today. So I'm going to write a plan. Actually, probably going to just pop into work and get something I forgot and have myself ready and set up when I get to that on Monday. Um, a few kind of reflections again this week. Has been incredibly difficult in many ways because I'm just constantly faced with things as a head teacher that are kind of new to me. Um, in my context, actually. So there's things that I've done before, but then when you do them in a new context, they're different. So you then have to learn again and with new people. So again, every day is like learning about the people you're working with and realizing that the system that normally might not work for this person. Therefore, as your boss, as the boss or the person in charge of the organization, it's your job to make sure that everyone's kind of familiar and comfortable with the systems. And I say an organisation, it is two small schools, so it's not huge. Masses of conversations again with children, with families, with staff, and I just feel over and over and over that as humans, a restorative way of working is so important. And I sent something out yesterday. I send these things out to everyone, really, to pupils, to staff, to parents about this. You know, are we, when we talk, when we interact, are we being honest? Are we telling stories because we want to find answers and we're not sure, or are we telling the truth? And there's that thing, did you see it? Did you hear it? Is it true? If you're talking about someone else, are you sure that what you're saying is true? And then that lovely thing, which I think is based on something religious originally or philosophical, but the idea of think, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And this is not about my two schools. This is about every organisation that I've ever worked in, is that problems come when we don't know the truth and we make up stories. And human beings need to understand. And so if we don't understand, we make up a story. And whether that's gossip or rumour, it helps us to make sense. Because if we've got a situation where things don't make sense, we make sense of it. So we go, oh, it must be that person's fault. So if I know it's not my fault, then I'm going to blame someone else. And I think sometimes we have to stop and pause and think, could it be my fault? Could it be something I've done? Let me check that out. If someone's been hurt, if someone's upset, is it something I did? And if not, then we kind of have to pause and think, right, well, that'll work its way out. The truth will out. And also in restorative, and again, I always go back to Mark Finnis's book called Restorative Practice, which is just phenomenal. It's that concept of there's your truth, there's my truth, and there's the truth. And what happened is what happened. But by the time I tell the story, it's filtered through my perception. By the time you tell the story, it's filtered by your perception or memory or whatever. And it might be that our memories are never going to be the same. And with children, that might be because they were dysregulated and they're, when they afterwards they stop and they think what actually happened, they can't remember. And the same with adults. Um, and I think it is all about storytelling. And I think that it's just about making sure that the stories we tell are as honest as they can be. Um, because we're creative, and the flip side of that is we tell beautiful creative stories, and actually if there's a problem, we use our imagination, and creative storytelling is about solving problems and using metaphor, and we tell a story about someone else because we're trying to work something out for ourselves. um so yeah, as humans we've got this amazing capacity, haven't we, to be creative, but we have to make sure that when we're creative we're not using it potentially to damage other people, because the minute we've told a story about someone that we don't know to be true, we risk it growing arms and legs, and we risk all sorts of things. And it's so hard because, again, I think I've talked about this before, children lie, it's part of their development. And we understand that, and my job is to go, okay, you've made a mistake, you weren't honest, but actually thanks for now being honest, and now we can move on from that. And my biggest difficulty is with adults who can't do that, who can't hold up their hands and say it was me. And I think that always comes from a place of fear, of, oh, if I'm honest I might lose my job, if I'm honest I might, people won't like me. And I think that's the biggest one. It's like, if I'm honest, people won't like me because they'll think I'm horrible, evil, whatever. Whereas actually, if you say, here's what happened, and hold hands up, and are honest about it, a one off might be an accident. Um, you've done something horrible, you've done something stupid. Okay. But it's not the end of the world. I think the end of the world is when, not this ridiculous turn of phrase, but what's unacceptable is the same mistakes made over and over by adults. And that's the difference. We understand that children need to go through that phase. As adults, we need to be able to be more honest. Um, and that's it. And I think I've probably made this video exactly the same before and said the same things. And from a personal perspective, I am honest, but it doesn't mean to say that when I've been honest, I'm not then fearful that, oh, I'll lose my job, or you won't like me, or I'll end up with no friends. And again, that thing we come back to of connection. We are connected beings, and actually our biggest fear is that we are ostracized, or you know nobody likes us, nobody loves us. um a lot there, but that's kind of what I've been reflecting on. And yeah, but I think the joy is the power of positive storytelling. And I've been with the very very small children this week, and I've read a lot of stories, and I'm just like, wow, that's the answer, isn't it? And that's why reading is so important, and literature, and why we talk about literacy. Because the minute you can understand a story and listen to a story and be absorbed in it, and hear positive stories about people doing the right thing, about terrible things happening, but then people surviving, about the whale and the snail, and this terrible thing that happens, but then at the end all the snails get on the whale's tail as a community, and the one snail's not isolated anymore. And that's Julia Donaldson. And we've kind of come up with this theory that actually our whole curriculum in primary could be through the books of Julia Donaldson, and probably the Katie Morag books in Scotland as well. And you could pretty much do everything. You could do the literacy, the numeracy, the health and well-being, the morality, the everything. And Julia Donaldson, by the way, I just think is an absolute legend, because I don't think there's one bad book that she's ever written. So I've been thinking about role models: Julia Donaldson, Michael Rosen, um, Helena Bonham Carter, um, people that just for years I've followed and liked, and just are consistent. That's what we're all looking for: consistent, trustworthy adults. As children, as adults, that's it, and that's what I'd like to be. And if people feel I'm not that, I always say, come and ask me, come and talk to me, let's have a conversation. And the difficult bit is we never have time anymore. There we go. So I'm quite tired. Gonna just take a bit of time to recover. Do a bit of nervous system. That's what I've agreed with my therapist. Nervous system work, getting all this a bit more sorted out so it's not all in here. And that's it. So I keep making these videos. Some people go, yeah, keep making them. Other people don't, obviously. And the reason for doing them is it's me processing, downloading, but if it's helpful, because I'm 53 years old and I've got quite a lot of experience, then if I can share that experience and help other people, that's marvelous. Stay well, stay safe, take care, be loving, be kind, be honest, and yeah, catch up soon. Bye for now.